Well, good morning, hope you're all doing well. I'm preparing for a trip and I'm going back to Abruzzo to run a workshop. So what I thought it would be a really handy thing to go over what I pack, what I take with me, how I pack it, and how I prepare all this stuff. So what I'll start doing is going through each individual piece of kit and walking you through the process. Now the first bit of gear is the camera bag, obviously, and I'm using the f-stop Talopa for all my gear. And it's a really quite important thing in the bag because you want to be making sure that you can get everything in there as possible. But obviously as well, you have to bear in mind that you have to get this onto the aircraft because there's no way I'm putting this in the hold with all my equipment in it. So I'm going to go through how I get my bag onto the plane. And it's all dependent on size and a lot of the airlines. So what I do is I go through the airline's checklist and find out what size bags are available. With this bag, I have discovered that I can compress it and do a couple of things to make it actually fit and fit those those stupid things you have to push your bags into to make sure it's the same size. So what I use is I've got some luggage straps. So what I do is I take everything out of my bag that I don't need, anything that's not overly valuable or I'm not too worried about, I'll put it in my Czech luggage. But I compress this bag down as small as I possibly can. And I'll show you how I actually do that now. I'll get you into the bag and show you how I do it. So first of all, let's cover what I actually carry in my bag. So I've got my drone in this compartment here. And then I've got the drone controller over the other side of the bag tucked in there. I've got my card holder on this side, I've got another card holder on this side, and the reason I take two is one has my cards that are empty, ready for use. The other one I'll be putting the full cards into so I don't get them mixed up and accidentally overwrite one of those cards. In the middle section I have my case filters. I also have my drone filters. So that stays in there. In here, I have my Rode mics. Obviously, I'm wearing them at the minute to do this. This section has my ZV-1 vlogging camera in. Obviously, it's on the tripod filming this again. Obviously, I've got my GFX 50S2 in there with the 35 to 70mm lens on. I've got my 100 to 200 lens here. I've got some spare filter covers there. I have my lens covers, lens caps and body caps here just in case I need to take anything off. A spare microphone in there, and that's pretty much it for the camera section itself. In here you'll notice I've pretty much emptied it. Everything out of this section here, which you get access from the top, is empty now, and I'll go through why I do that. In the actual flap, the lid of the camera bag itself, I'll show you here. All of this here, I've got my shutter release cables, any spare cables that I might need, bits and pieces like that. I've got my drone license and bits and pieces like that in that section there. And then obviously I've got a space to put a laptop in there. I may or may not do that yet, I don't know, I might actually carry it on, but we'll see. So that's that as far as the bag's concerned. Now what I'll do is, I'll close this up and I want to show you the top section of the bag. So now hopefully you can see the top section of the bag. In here, I carry extra filters. I've got 3 extra filters in here. I also have my Osmo Pocket in the top. In this top lid section, I have all my lens cloths and bits and pieces, stuff like that, and obviously a tool for the tripod plates. So that gets all shoved in the top section there. Now when you access the bag from this section, you'll notice everything is empty now. It's all gone. I've got rid of everything in here so that basically all I have is the insert, the camera bag insert. And what you'll notice, if I close this up now and I push that down, the top of this frame, which is just along here, is the exact size it needs to be height-wise to get on the plane. So all I potentially need to do is compress it. Now what I tend to do here is I remove these straps, and they're called gatekeeper straps on the f-stop. Take them off the side. Bear with me. Take one off there, take the other off. And I just unclip. And then what I do is I adjust them and pop these gatekeepers right into one section there, and then I plug it into the other section on the other side, and as you can see, what that does is compress it right down, and I can tie this whole thing down so that it pushes the top of the bag down level with where the frame is, and at that point it's the perfect size. Now the other issue I've got is obviously the width of the bag is an issue, and that's where my luggage straps come in. And I'll get this bag laid out flat, and I'll kind of show you what I do with those. Right, so I have my bag laid out flat now. The next thing I do to get this bag on the plane is basically I take these luggage straps and I pop one around the top, underneath, and round like this. And what you'll notice is this section actually compresses quite nicely. Plug that in and make sure it's nice and tight. I'm not going to crush anything inside because the insert's in there and there's nothing sticking up above it. And I do the same at the bottom. Take another luggage strap, wrap it round, all the way around like that, and it's nice and tight, and it takes quite a bit of getting in because I've adjusted these already to fit, and I have to squash it down a bit until it goes in like so, and that squashes the bag down enough, keeps it level, keeps it flat. As you can see, the footprint is now reduced, apart from the straps on the back. That's it, reduced quite substantially. And the reason for that is, on the front of this bag you've got this pocket, and it sticks out quite a ways. Without compressing it, it sticks out quite a ways and makes it look bigger than it actually is. So if you can compress all that, compress the top, you've basically got a smaller bag which will fit on the plane, absolutely no problem at all. Now before I move on to the Czech luggage bag, I want to show you this little bag, and this is what I use as my carry-on bag. It goes alongside my my carry-on backpack, which I've got all my camera gear in. This, I carry all my cables, bits and pieces, hard drives, stuff like that, and it's really handy because I've got a mesh pocket on this side, I can put all the cables and everything in, and on this side I can put hard drives and other bits of the chargers. I'll show you what I mean now. So in here I've got my charger for the Fuji. I can pop that in there. I tend to wrap the cable up, take the cable out, put the plug in this section, wrap this up, and I keep the cables for everything in this side. It just keeps them out of the way. Wrap those up, pop that in there. Do the same with the charger for the ZV-1. Take the cable off, pop the charger in there, wrap the cable up, and pop that in with the other charging cables, which I wrap up and put in there. Then obviously I'm going to have the laptop charger. Now always make sure you've got all the chargers you're going to need. Pop that in there. Obviously you're going to need a phone charger. Pop that in there as well, and I always just separate the cables. And this here, what I tend to do, I've got a little power bank, so I've got a bank with about 4 different USB chargers, which is really handy just to take away with me. And I keep Obviously, you're going to need an adapter for wherever you're going abroad. This is Italy, so I use this adapter here. And then I have this adapter, which I can just unplug, take the UK adapter off, and pop this one on, and I'm ready to go. I've got a cable, I've got a charging block here for anything that I need to plug into there, which is just a UK plug. And then I've got this for all my other things like the battery chargers and what have you. I can just plug into that one thing, and then I'm not carrying about 20 different cables and chargers. I'm kind of limiting how much I take. So that's really handy. I just pop that in there as well. Now you'll find that it's just a case of moving everything round to get it in where you need it. But it all fits nicely in there, and I can just shove that down. When all the cables are in, cinch it all down, and there we go. I'm ready to go, basically. Now, also inside that little bag I store all my spare batteries, and that means that I don't have to go through my camera bag trying to show all the security agents where all my batteries are. I keep them all in that one pouch, easily accessible. I can just hand it over and they can go through that, no problem at all. Right, next thing we're going to move on to is my Czech luggage bag. And for this trip, I've just got myself a big rolly bag. And the reason for that is I just thought it'd be way easier to put all of my stuff in this one little bag and then not have to worry about trying to get the right size suitcase and all of that. So the rolly bag, I find I'm going to fit a whole load more in. And I thought what I'd do is take my tripod, put my tripod in the middle of it and wrap all my clothes around it. I'll get you down to the ground level and I'll show you how I'm gonna pack this bag, what I use to pack all my clothes and bits and pieces like that. Right, so with this rolly bag you haven't got any sides or anything like that to worry about. You can just open it up at the top here. You can see it's big and it's deep. So the idea being, I've actually got my tripod and I've left it in its case. And the reason for that is just to give it a little bit extra protection in the bag. So pop that in the bag, and then basically what I'll do is I'll put some clothes underneath it and pad it right out and wrap more clothes around it just to give it that a little bit of extra protection. Next thing I do is I pack all my clothes in packing cells, and I'll show you those now. So for packing my clothes, I found last time that I travelled, these are really invaluable. They compress all your clothes, keep them all in one place, stop them from rattling around, and give you a nice padded sort of base to stick round stuff. So I put all my tops and stuff like that in there, and then I'll just pack them round the tripod like that. Same with these ones. Put socks and bits and pieces in one and other bits of clothing in the other there, and I can pack those round the tripod like so. I'm just going to take jackets, things like that, and pack it round the tripod just to give it an extra bit of protection. My main concern is with my Czech bag is that I protect the tripod from getting any damage taken by just getting thrown on luggage carts and all the rest of it. So yeah, just keep going round it. And because it's a round duffel bag, I can put clothes underneath it, I can put clothes above it and either end here, just to absorb as much impact from getting thrown around as possible. Plenty of room to go. I can put all my gear in there. It's going to be no issue. Everything will fit, no problem at all. Now lastly, as well as all those other bits that I've shoved in my Czech luggage, I also carry my camera cleaning kit, and again just another one of these little cells from F-Stop. I've got all my cleaning kit in there, rocket blower, some swabs, sensor swabs there. I've got sensor swabs for full frame and for my medium format camera, just in case anybody else has an issue as well. Cleaning liquid and also lens wipes, things like that. So that I can quite happily just throw in my Czech luggage. I know it's not going to get broken. There's nothing to get broken, and if it does, anything does happen to it, it's not really the end of the world. Apart from that, that's pretty much everything that I shove in my luggage there. Obviously, clothes-wise, I haven't gone over that, but obviously that's also dependent on where you're visiting. because I'm going to Italy, I'm not entirely sure what the weather's going to be, so I'm just going to pack different types of clothing for different circumstances. But I do take my gloves with me as well, just in case it gets really, really cold. There's nothing worse than standing on a mountainside somewhere and you're absolutely freezing, because it does sort of break your concentration from capturing good images. So that's pretty much everything, apart from the laptop, which I'll probably carry on the aeroplane with me. I won't tend to put it in the camera bag itself, because that'll also add to the weight. And actually, while we're on the subject of weight, just let me grab this out my bag. I always make sure that my bags aren't overweight for the plane, and I carry a little luggage scale with me. I'll weigh all my bags before I actually go on the flight, and then I'll weigh all my bags. I'll take this with me in this little pouch, and I'll check it again before I set off back, just in case I've added something to one of the bags that I had in one of the other ones before and put myself overweight. I always take one of these luggage scales just to make sure. So guys, I hope that's kind of helped you go through the process of what to pack, how I pack my bag, and with any luck it's helped you kind of make choices for your next trip. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I might be out of action again for another week or two, because obviously I've got this workshop to run, but I'll get back as soon as possible and get another video out for you. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye bye.